Have you ever stopped just to ask yourself, what did I have to give up? Just to be seen as strong, because somewhere on the long road to becoming who the world told you to be, you stopped being who you really were. They taught you how to survive, how to smile when your heart was cracking, how to be good, be better, be enough. But no one ever taught you how to keep the parts that felt, that cried easily, that danced barefoot in the hallway, that needed love without earning it. And so you became resilient, efficient, admired. But beneath the armor of, I'm fine, there's a silence, a stillness, a forgotten whisper. It's her, the little girl inside you, the one who once believed in magic, the one who giggled without guilt, the one who felt deeply, spoke honestly, and loved without fear. She didn't disappear. She didn't die. She just went quiet. Because someone somewhere told her, you're too much. You need to grow up. But they were wrong. Carl Jung once said, it's not your fault. It's a part of you left behind in the unconscious. And as long as she stays exiled, so does your feminine essence. Not the curated version, not the polished, pleasing one, but the real one, soft, wild, untamed, alive. That part of you is not gone. She's just waiting. So let me ask you, when was the last time you cried without shame? When was the last time you truly played, without needing it to be useful? When was the last time someone saw all of you, not just the polished parts, but the wild, beautiful, messy you? If you feel like you've lost your light, it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been living without your soul's voice. This isn't about blaming, not your parents, not the world, not even yourself. It's about remembering that the girl you used to be was never meant to disappear. She was meant to be loved, held, seen, welcomed home. You don't have to keep abandoning yourself just to be accepted. So right now, I want you to pause, just for a moment. Close your eyes and imagine her. Maybe she's hiding behind the couch. Maybe she's in a quiet room, holding a stuffed bear. Maybe she's staring out the window, wondering if anyone sees her. And if you could speak to her, what would you say? Would you rush past her? Or would you kneel gently and whisper, I'm sorry I left you behind. I see you now. I'm here, and I won't leave again. Because here's the truth. Your feminine soul, your gift to feel, to create, to surrender, to connect, lives inside her. She's the key, the doorway, the light you've been missing. And no amount of success, no structure, no control, will ever replace the aliveness she holds in her hands. So if you've been feeling disconnected, if the doing and the proving never feel like enough, this isn't burnout, it's not weakness. It's a sacred signal. It's your soul whispering, it's time to come home. Home to your softness. Home to the girl you were told to forget. Home to your whole self. And in today's journey, we begin that return. Gently, tenderly, truthfully, not by fixing, not by forcing, but by remembering you were never broken, you were just silenced. And that little girl inside, the one with all the magic, all the softness, all the truth, she's still there, still waiting, still believing. You might finally come back for her. So stay with me. This is not the end. This is the beginning of homecoming. If this spoke to something inside you, share it with someone whose little girl might still be waiting too. You never know how one quiet remembering could change someone's life. Have you ever felt shattered by something small? A text left unread, a look, a silence that no one else noticed. But to you, it felt like the ground disappeared beneath your feet. That wasn't you being too much. That was a part of you, finally screaming to be seen. Most of us were taught to explain our pain away. I'm just sensitive. Maybe I'm overreacting. It's probably nothing. But what if it's not nothing? What if those moments, those aches, aren't flaws, but echoes from a time long ago, when a little girl inside you felt invisible, unloved, too loud, too soft, too much. She didn't vanish. She didn't grow up. She learned how to disappear, quietly, perfectly, just enough to survive. Carl Jung called her the shadow, the place we bury what was never allowed to be. The tears, the neediness, the craving to be chosen, to be enough, without earning it. And so, a silent script was written. In the background of your life, if I show who I really am, I'll be rejected. If I'm vulnerable, I'll be abandoned. So I must be perfect. I must stay small. I must never need too much. Heartbreaking, isn't it? Because that silent script directs your whole emotional life. Without you even knowing, you smile. When someone ignores your message, you laugh at comments that sting. You stay in love with people who keep you starving for crumbs because some part of you still believes, if I ask for more, I'll lose it all. But that's not your adult self. That's the child in you, still trying to survive. And here's the haunting part. You think it's normal? You think, I'm just unlucky in love. Maybe softness isn't for me. Maybe I wasn't built for being held. But Jung warned us, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So no, this isn't your fate. It's just a wound, an old ache, repeating itself because no one ever told it. You're allowed to heal. You fall for people who remind you of the ones who couldn't love you. You work for people who echo voices that once made you small. You give and give and give and never quite feel enough. It's not a coincidence. It's not bad luck. It's repetition, a loop, a deep longing for a different ending. But loops don't break on their own. They shift. When you notice, when you pause and ask, wait, is this me? Or is this the girl inside me, still trying to earn safety? And in that moment, something softens. Not because the past is fixed, but because you finally chose to see her. That's how healing begins. Not with more affirmations, not with pretending, but with the quiet courage to say, I see you. I hear you. You no longer have to hide. And when she comes out of the shadows, you don't just rescue her. You rescue yourself. So the next time you feel a wave of emotion that feels too much, pause, breathe, place your hand on your heart, and whisper, that's not me overreacting. That's her asking if I'm ready to come home. Stay with me, because in the next part of this journey, we'll uncover how this hidden wound has been dimming your power as a woman. And trust me, when she returns, everything changes. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I keep choosing people who make me feel not enough? Different faces, same ache, over and over again. You love, you try, you give. But somehow, you're always the one left unseen. If that pattern feels familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. You're repeating, not because you're weak, but because a part of you is still trying to rewrite a story that was never fair to begin with. Psychologists call it repetition compulsion. Carl Jung called it the unconscious trying to heal itself. It's what happens when your nervous system still believes, if I just love better, try harder, be what they need. Then maybe this time, I'll finally be chosen. But what if I told you, this time is still the past, just wearing a different name, a different body, the same wound. We don't fall in love with random people. We're drawn to what's familiar, even when it hurts. A partner who withdraws, just like your father once did. A friend who competes, echoing your mother's quiet disappointment. A boss who praises everyone but you, awakening that old ache from the teacher who never saw you. It's not fate. It's not coincidence. It's a loop, a pattern, running silently in the background of your life. Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So no, this isn't just bad luck. It's not how love works. It's a younger version of you, still trying to earn the love she should have received without question. Picture her now, the little girl inside of you, standing in the same hallway she was once left in, still hoping someone will turn back and say, I see you. You matter. You're already enough. But instead, you keep walking into similar rooms, knocking on similar doors, waiting to feel safe. And every time it doesn't come, the wound deepens. And worst of all, you start believing it's you. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I'm the reason they leave. Maybe I'm just hard to love. But that's the lie. That's the wound talking. And when you don't see it, you spend your life trying to be everything to people who were never meant to carry the weight of your healing. So pause with me. Place a hand over your heart. Just breathe. If this is stirring something inside you, you're not broken. You're remembering, and here's the shift. The moment you name the pattern, you loosen its grip, you begin to notice, wait, this feels familiar. This isn't love. This is survival. This is me trying to earn my worth from someone who was never capable of giving it. And that noticing, that's power. That's where choice begins. So ask yourself, in the relationships that drain you, what are you trying to prove? That you're lovable, that this time will be different, that if you're perfect enough, they'll stay. But what if you didn't have to prove anything anymore? What if healing wasn't about getting them to stay, but finally choosing not to chase love in places it was never safe? You don't have to reenact abandonment to prove you can survive it. You don't need to repeat the pain to feel redeemed, the version of you who begged for closeness. Didn't know any better. She was surviving. But you know, now, and healing begins the moment you whisper to her, this is not fate. This is a pattern, and patterns can be unlearned. So when the next relationship feels too familiar, pause and ask yourself, am I being loved here? Or am I trying to feel enough for someone who keeps making me forget that I already am? Stay with me, because in the next part of this journey, we'll go deeper into how your feminine energy, your softness, your sensuality, your wild sacred magic has been waiting for you. And the moment you stop repeating the wound, you begin the return to self, to truth, to love, to freedom. She's the woman everyone admires, strong, put together, capable. She leads, she gives, she holds it all, and she makes it look effortless. But behind closed doors, she's tired, not from doing too much, but from carrying a version of herself that was built out of pain. See, when she was little, she cried, and no one came. She reached, and no one stayed. She hoped, and only silence answered. So she learned that needing was dangerous, that softness wasn't safe, that love had to be earned. And in that silence, she made a vow, I'll never need anyone again. I'll be strong. I'll handle everything. I'll prove I'm enough. And she did. She became the woman who never asks for help, who holds it all together, who achieves, who performs, who protects. Let's call her the strong self. But don't get it wrong. She's not fake. She's not a lie. She's a survivor. She is the armor you built when it was too risky to be real, and she has protected you. In meetings, in deadlines, in breakups, in life. But when it comes to love, that armor cracks. You freeze. You overthink. You pull away. Or you cling too tightly. Not because you're broken, but because the little girl in you, the one who never learned what safe love feels like, she's still the one showing up, and she's terrified. You can walk into a room of executives and speak without shaking. But when someone looks at you with real affection, you shrink. You silence yourself. You wonder, am I too much? Am I not enough? Will they leave if they see all of me? You crave closeness, but it feels like danger, because the last time you opened your heart, it got hurt. So now, you live in this quiet contradiction. I don't need anyone, but I'm starving to be held. I'm strong, but God, I wish someone would check on me for once. I'm fine, but I wish I didn't always have to be. Sound familiar? That's not weakness. That's the wound. Still whispering, still waiting. Carl Jung once said, what we do not bring to consciousness will rule our life, and we will call it fate. So no, you're not too needy. You're not too intense. You're not asking for too much. You're just asking for what you never received. Safety, affection, rest. And here's the truth. No one told you. You can build an empire and still feel empty at night. You can be admired by everyone and still feel unseen by yourself, because no amount of success can silence the ache of unloved parts of you. But here's the miracle. You don't have to destroy your strong self. She's not the problem. She was your shield, your story, your way of surviving, but she's not the whole story. So today, I invite you to look underneath the strength, to touch the part of you That's still aching to be loved, without performing, without controlling, without proving, to hold the little girl inside and whisper, "You don't have to earn it anymore. You just have to receive it. You are already worthy, just as you are." Pause. Breathe. Feel that? Ask yourself, who am I when I stop performing? What would it feel like to be loved without having to hold it all? Because here's the quiet truth. Being seen in your softness is the bravest thing you'll ever do. You are strong, but that doesn't mean you have to carry it all alone. Maybe it's time to let someone else in. But more importantly, maybe it's time to let you in, the soft you, the sacred you, the real radiant human you, because under the mask of strength is a woman who was never too much, only too unseen. Stay with me, because in the next chapter, we'll uncover how softening isn't weakness. It's the very gateway to your awakened feminine power, the kind that doesn't hustle for love, but lets it flow effortlessly. No one is born disconnected from her feminine soul, but many of us were taught to fear her. We weren't told don't feel, but we were told you're too emotional. Stop crying. Don't be so sensitive. Be more practical. And so we began to disappear. The feminine doesn't vanish. She retreats like a wild stream. Once dancing through your spirit, she pulls back. Not because she's gone, but because the world made it unsafe for her to exist. Feminine energy is not about how you look. It's not soft dresses or candlelight or yoga at sunrise. It's deeper. It's a spiritual presence. It's the way your body exhales when you feel safe. It's the whisper inside you saying, you don't have to try so hard. It's intuition, flow, emotional depth, creative fire, and the quiet courage to receive without apology. And yet, so many women are cut off from this part of themselves, not because they rejected it, but because they were rejected for it. Think back. Were you ever punished for crying too much? Laughed at for feeling deeply? Told to get over it? When all you were doing was feeling? That's where the fracture began. You learned emotions are messy. Softness is weak. Being too much means being left behind. So you shrank, you dimmed, you traded your light for approval, and slowly, quietly, you disconnected from the wild, radiant girl you once were. Carl Jung called this a detachment from the archetypal soul. When a woman begins living on autopilot, capable, productive, externally polished, but inwardly dry, she becomes a river with no current, a flame with no breath, still moving, but no longer alive. In her own body, picture a small stream in a quiet valley. At first it flows freely, winding between rocks, laughing over tree roots, alive in every drop. But one day, a boulder crashes into its path. The stream doesn't fight. It adapts, it twists, it bends. It learns how to survive, and slowly, it forgets what it means to flow. That's what happened to your feminine energy. You bent, you tightened, you began to analyze, control, protect, all while starving for softness, because you were taught to be loved, be perfect, to be safe, don't need too much, to belong, be less of yourself. So the feminine parts of you, the parts that feel deeply, move slowly, create without needing a reason. They were exiled, not out of rebellion, but out of fear. Maybe you've felt it. You lie in bed, tasks complete, to-do list done, everything looks perfect, and yet something aches, not because you're ungrateful, but because you were never meant to live without your own essence. You were never meant to survive on strategy. You were meant to feel your way home. So when you find yourself always trying to prove something, when joy feels indulgent and rest feels wrong, pause. That's not who you are. That's who you became. In a world that didn't know how to hold you. And here's the truth. You don't need to earn your way back to your feminine soul. You just need to remember the girl who danced without music, who cried without shame, who talked to the moon and believed in magic. She didn't disappear. She just got quiet. And now she's asking to come home. So if you've been told you're too sensitive, too emotional, too much, you're not. You are a woman who learned to survive by dimming her own light. But now, you get to do something radical. You get to stop shrinking. You get to soften again. You get to feel, to flow, to rise. And when you do, the world doesn't get a better version of you. You finally get all of you. Stay with me, because in the next chapter, we'll begin the rituals, the practices, and the soul-deep shifts that bring your feminine home again. Not as an idea, but as a living, breathing presence in your everyday life. Have you ever looked in the mirror and realized you've become someone you don't fully recognize? You're functioning, you're admired, you've done everything right. But underneath it all, you're tired. Not from doing too much, but from not being yourself. Most women don't wake up and say, "I'm going to wear a mask today." It happens quietly. In the moment you were told, "Don't be so emotional." In the praise that came only when you performed, in the silence. When you needed comfort most. And so, we adapt. We protect. We build invisible armor. We call it being strong, being responsible, being mature. But sometimes, it's not strength. It's self-abandonment, dressed as success. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Maybe that's why we hide. Not because we're weak, but because we're scared of what might happen if we were truly seen. Let's talk about the 3 invisible armors, the ones we wear without even knowing it, the ones that quietly keep us far from our truest self. You learn early? Be good. Be agreeable. Don't make people uncomfortable. So you shrink your voice, you rehearse your words, you smile when it hurts. You edit your silence, not because you're fake, but because you want to be loved, and they might like the version you create. But deep down, you'll always wonder, would they love the real me? When was the last time you said what you truly felt, without softening it to be safe? When was the last time you let your truth speak, without apology? Healing doesn't ask you to be less. It asks you to be honest. And that means letting the parts you've hidden finally breathe again. You tell yourself, if I can just plan everything, I'll be safe. So you manage outcomes, pre-write conversations, overthink every word. But control is just fear, wearing a responsible face. And here's the paradox. The more you try to control love, the less you can feel it. Because love isn't a formula. It's not a checklist. It's a risk. It requires trust, presence, surrender. You can't plan your way into intimacy. You have to soften into it. Let it find you when your guard is down and your heart is open. Have you ever rewritten a message 3 times before sending it? Silently panicked over a delayed reply, chosen your words so carefully you forgot what you actually wanted to say. That's not love. That's self-erasure. And your inner girl, she's tired of walking on eggshells just to feel worthy of staying. Here's one we don't talk about enough. Guilt for feeling good. You were taught joy must be earned. That rest is a reward. That pleasure is indulgent. So even when life gives you softness, you tense, you shrink. You whisper, have I done enough to deserve this? But here's the truth. Joy doesn't need permission. It doesn't have to be useful. It's not a luxury. It's medicine. It reminds your nervous system that safety is possible, that life can be more than just survival. So ask yourself, what if you didn't have to earn softness? What if joy didn't require a checklist? What if you let yourself feel good just because you're alive? Each armor, the good girl, the controller, the guilt around joy, they were built to protect you. And in many ways, they did, but you're not here to just survive. You're here to feel, to live, to return to the you who once laughed from her belly, trusted her instincts, loved without proving, cried without shame. If you feel far from her today, that's okay. She's not lost. She's just waiting, breathing quietly beneath the layers, hoping you'll pause and whisper, I don't have to earn joy. I don't have to earn softness. I was born worthy of both. Stay with me, because in the next chapter, we'll begin reconnecting with the woman underneath it all. Not the polished one, not the performing one, but the one who never needed to be perfect, to be powerful. The one who already knows how to come home, Have you spent your life trying to become who the world told you to be? Always reaching, always fixing, always striving to feel just right, but never quite landing. What if the real journey isn't about becoming more? What if it's about coming back to what's always been there? Carl Jung called it individuation, a word that sounds clinical, but it's anything but that. It's not about performance, not about perfection. It's a homecoming, a return to your whole self. You see, we've been taught that healing looks like improvement, more boundaries, better habits, less chaos. But individuation is different. It's not about becoming more acceptable. It's about turning toward the parts of you that were never given permission to exist and saying to them, "You are allowed. You are mine." It's the moment you stop pretending you're not scared and let fear speak. It's the moment you admit, "Yes, I'm still hurting. Yes, I still long to be chosen. Yes, I still carry the girl who never knew she was enough." And instead of running, you sit, you stay, you listen, you breathe with what hurts. You make room for what's been silenced. That is what it means to become whole. This journey isn't glamorous. It won't look like a success story. It looks like slowing down, letting go, getting quiet, and asking, "Who am I?" Underneath all the masks I wear, Jung said, individuation is not climbing toward the light. It's descending into the shadow. It's the sacred work of going inward to where the truth has always been, waiting, patient, still. Think of a tree in autumn. It doesn't bloom harder. It doesn't force fruit. It lets go, and somehow, in the letting go, it becomes more itself. That's the path. Not fixing, not pushing, just remembering who you were before the world asked you to forget. Maybe you felt it, that tug in your chest, that ache that whispers, "I'm done pretending. There's more to me than this life I've curated." That's not failure. That's your soul asking to be heard again. Not the polished you, not the version they applauded, but the real you, the raw, radiant, contradictory woman who feels deeply, loves fiercely, and sometimes just needs to be held. You've spent years trying to be good enough, to be lovable, to be healed. But the truth, you don't need to become anything. You just need to come back. Back to the softness you buried. Back to the instincts you ignored. Back to the girl who once laughed freely and never questioned her worth. The day you stop trying to be someone and start allowing yourself to just be, that's the day you begin. To live, that's the shift. The quiet revolution. When you stop chasing approval and start choosing truth. When you stop hiding your heaviness and instead say, "I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be real." And in that moment, you stop surviving. You start living. So no, this isn't the journey of becoming better. It's the journey of remembering someone sacred. It's peeling back the armor, feeling your own heartbeat again. It's exhaling the expectations that were never yours to carry. You are not broken. You are layered. You are not lost. You're just buried beneath 1,000 masks that no longer belong. So today, exhale, let them fall, and whisper to the mirror, "I'm not trying to become her. I already am her. I'm just coming back." Stay with me, because in the next part of this journey, we'll go even deeper into the real grounded practices that help you meet your inner child with tenderness and reclaim the joy, the rest, and the love you've always deserved. Have you ever felt that no matter how much you do, how much you give, how much you achieve, something inside still aches? Quietly, like a little girl, still waiting to be seen. If so, this episode is for her, for you, for the sacred child within, still longing for love, for safety, for someone to finally say, "You don't have to earn it. You just have to be." Let's begin, not by fixing, but by remembering. Call her by name. Start here. Find a photo of yourself as a little girl. Look into her eyes, not to judge, but to see, what does she feel like? Lonely, hopeful, forgotten. Now write her a letter, not to explain, not to change the past, just to say, "I see you, I'm proud of you. You've always deserved love. simply because you exist. This is where healing begins. Not in doing more, but in finally being with her. Ooh. Listen without solving. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Take a slow breath and gently ask, "What do you need from me today, sweetheart?" Don't try to fix. Don't interrupt. Just listen. Let her speak in images, in feelings, or even in silence. And if it's quiet, don't rush it. That silence, it speaks volumes. Sometimes the loudest healing comes in whispers. 3. Become the mother you never had. Maybe you were shamed for crying or ignored when you needed comfort. That pain lives inside you until you choose differently. Today, you get to become the mother you always needed. So when you fall short, don't punish. When you're tired, don't shame. Hold yourself gently. Speak softly. Forgive quickly. Because your inner girl doesn't need more pressure. She needs your tenderness. 4. Reclaim the feminine without permission. The feminine is not about pleasing. It's about remembering what brings you back to yourself. So today, dance barefoot in the kitchen. Paint badly. Sing out of tune. Breathe with your tea. Rest without guilt. Because the feminine doesn't bloom through force. She blossoms through trust. 5. Heal the wound of rejection. Think back to the moments you were told, "You're too much. You don't belong. You need to be quieter." Those moments hurt. Not because you were wrong, but because you were made to feel shame for simply being yourself. So today, say this out loud, gently but firmly. I am worthy of love because I exist. Let that truth burn away the lie you never asked to carry. 6. Return to your wildness. What made you feel alive? As a child, climbing trees, getting messy with crayons, singing to the stars. Reclaim it. Reignite it, not because it's productive, but because it's pure. Your wildness was never a flaw. It's a gateway back to the self that was never meant to be tamed. 7. Be seen without apology. Feminine doesn't mean quiet. It means real, so cry if you need to. Laugh too loud. Wear what lights you up. Say what your heart believes, even if your voice shakes. In a world that trains women to shrink, presence is rebellion, and softness is your superpower. 8. Practice joy without earning it. Here's a radical idea. Joy doesn't need a reason. You don't need to finish your to-do list. You don't need to deserve it. Make a list of useless joys. Stargazing, singing in the shower, rolling on the floor laughing. Pick one. Do it this week. When you can feel joy without guilt, you're not just surviving anymore. You're free. Time. Rebuild inner trust. When fear arises, and it will, don't abandon yourself. Instead, whisper softly, I'm here now. We can do this together. Say it again. Say it like a mother, holding her child in a thunderstorm. You are not alone. Not anymore. These rituals aren't about becoming someone new. They're about remembering who you were before the world told you she was too much. Your inner girl is not broken. She's waiting for you, so come back, softly, boldly, as you are, because the most powerful woman is the one who finally loves every part of herself. If this touched something inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone whose inner girl might still be waiting too. They told you healing meant becoming better, stronger, smarter, quieter. But what if healing is simply remembering who you were before the world told you to change? You don't need to become more, not more perfect, not more productive, not even more healed. What you truly need is to return to that quiet place inside you where something sacred was once left behind, where your inner girl still waits, barefoot, soft-hearted, wild-eyed. She's not asking for a breakthrough. She's asking for your arms. Somewhere along the way, we disconnected. Maybe it happened when you were told to toughen up, or when your joy was labeled too much, or when silence felt safer than honesty. And from that moment on, you wore the world's expectations, like armor, forgetting you were born to dance barefoot in your own truth. But even now, even after everything, she's still there, your little girl. Not broken, not bitter, just waiting for you. Have you paused long enough to hear her, to feel her, tug on your heart in quiet moments, to notice how she shows up in your longing for joy, your ache for freedom, your exhaustion from pretending to be fine? She doesn't need you to fix her. She needs you to see her. And when you finally do, when you look at her, without flinching, without shame, without trying to make her behave, something magical happens. That's when the forgotten light awakens, not the loud, blinding kind, but the soft, radiant kind, like sunlight warming your face after a long winter. This is the sacred feminine rising, not as performance, but as presence. She's not here to impress. She's here to be, to breathe, to feel, to remember what it means to be whole. Even in your softness, true feminine power isn't about being invincible. It's about being honest. It's found in cracked voices, in trembling hands, in saying no even when your voice shakes, in saying yes to your joy without guilt. It's the power of choosing rest over hustle, connection over perfection, compassion over self-judgment. And the moment you stop running from that softness is the moment she rises within you, glowing, wild, free. You were never too much, never too sensitive, never wrong for feeling deeply, for loving fiercely, for dreaming wide. You were simply born with a light the world didn't know how to hold. But now you do. Now you know how to hold yourself. And that, beloved, is the beginning of everything. So tonight, come home, sit in silence, breathe into your belly, close your eyes, and whisper, I see you now. I won't abandon you again. You are safe to smile, to cry, to be free, and just like that, you begin again, not as someone new, but as the woman who finally remembered she was never lost, just waiting to return to herself. If this stirred something in your heart, don't keep it buried. Share it with someone who still hides her softness. Remind her the light never left. It just needed her permission to rise again. And if your heart just touched something deep, maybe it wasn't just the words, maybe it was a calling. Take a moment, listen closely, hold the little girl inside you. She's whispering, it's time to come home. And if you're ready to continue this journey of healing and awakening your feminine essence, subscribe, turn on the notifications, because the next video might arrive at the very moment you need it most.